Welcome, third graders. Here we are at the beginning of our weaving demo. Okay, we're going to start our weaving unit and we're going to learn how to weave. Now, to begin with, we're going to learn how to paper weave. Now, I know you've done this before, but we're going to kind of review weaving before we get on with our yarn weaving. All right, so your first step is you're going to get a paper like this. It's going to have a black line along the top. Your first step is to fold it in half like this, and we're going to cut. Now I just really only want you to do 5 cuts. So cut down the middle and stop at that black line. And then measure out maybe about 3 fingers width and cut another cut. There's 2. And then halfway between there, or 3 fingers width, you can cut a third time. Cut to the black line. Okay, do it again. Cut to the black line. Now I've got 5 cuts. Now if you end up with 6 cuts, that's okay. If you get more than that, 8 cuts, more and more and more, it's going to be a little more complicated for you to do the weaving, and we kind of want to make this simple and easy and review. Alright, so 5 cuts is plenty. Alright, so now if you remember, in weaving you go in and out, under and over. So under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. And these should be evenly spaced. 1 under, don't skip any, and kind of go under, over, under, over. Now you're going to work on your next strip, and I've got a lot of colors to choose from. You're going to end up with at least 8 strips to weave in. Okay, so pick out the colors that you want. I'm going to grab this green one. All right, now I started underneath to weave. Now I'm going to start over. So over, under, over, under, over. And as you can see, we've got a little pattern going on here. Okay, it's an alternating pattern, and that's how you want it to look. You want to look checkerboard type pattern. All right, now I'm going to start again. Now in this case we started under, and then this one we started over, and we're going to start under again. But for example's sake, I'm going to just go ahead and do it just like the other one and see what we've got here. All right, so now I've weaved that in. And does there anything look not quite right there? Yeah, there's no pattern, and it's exactly the same as the other one. And there's a problem with that in that it doesn't sit in there, it sits in there loosely, it doesn't tight. Weaving, because they do the alternating pattern, actually it gives it some strength. And so your weaved rugs and scarves and things like that, they actually have some sturdiness to them because we've done this alternating pattern. So we are going to continue to create this. So I started under, I'm over, now I'm under again, and weaving in and out, creating this pattern. All right, and I'm going to do one more here, a total of 8. Started under, started over, started under. Now I'm going to start over, under, over, under, over. There we go. There we go. Now keep weaving. Weave all 8 in there until you have your completed one. And this goes home with you. This is just a practice. Put your name on it. You can draw on it if you want. And that goes home with you, okay? We were just kind of reviewing how to weave and how to go about it, because now we're going to do our fabric weaving. All right, you're going to get a piece of burlap like this with a dowel on the top. And our first step is to take a piece of tape and put your name and class name right down here. Okay, so we know it's yours for the next time you come. Then you're going to start taking out some of these little strings, because we're going to weave in this space. The first couple actually are kind of hard to pull out, but you just kind of yank on them, kind of stabilize your cloth, and just pull. Okay, now I want you to pull out about 20 here, and or 15 to 20 here, and about 20 to 25 here. Okay, the first one's hard is to pull out, but if you need help, I'll come around and help people pull out the first one. The rest of them come out pretty nicely. Now if you have some little loose strings on the side, it's okay to kind of pull those away and cut those away. All right, now once you have weaved and have gotten that far, you pulled out 15 here and 20 here. We're ready to weave. We've got our name on it, that kind of thing. Now you're going to get a piece of string. Now I would get a piece of string, maybe pretty long. You can always trim away some, but this one is about this width. okay? Because we're going to go down and back with our first row. Now you're going to thread your needle like this, putting the yarn through the needle, and you're going to put it on like that, and you can just drag it through your weaving that way, or if you find that it's coming undone a lot, you can just quick tie it just lightly like that, so it's easy to take out as well, okay? All right, so now we're not going to go down and under through each and every single one. We're actually going to skip 5 and kind of go under 5, over 5, under 5, over 5, under 5, over 5, and continue on under, over. Now if it ends up being 4 or 6 and it's close to 5, that's fine. Don't be going over and under 10 because you'll lose the effect. All right, so now I'm going to pull that through, but not too far, okay? So I don't want to pull it all the way out. Now I'm going to come back around. Now, pull that up just a little bit, and I'm going to come down underneath my red string, and where I went over before, I'm going under now. So same alternating pattern that you saw before with the paper. Under, over, under, and I can kind of see where I came through. I'm going to go through those same openings that I saw before. That I created with the yarn from the first pass. Use those same openings, going back and forth. Pull it through, not too tight. Under, over, under. Now I'm going to pull this yarn all the way through. Don't yank it, don't squeeze it, don't go crazy. Let it lay there, okay? Just as is. And I can untie this from my needle. Now these two strings here are here. And I can just let them lay loose, or I can tie them together. If you're afraid they're going to come out, just tie them together like you tie your shoes. Okay? Maybe a double overhand knot type thing. There we go. All right, that was the first color. I'm going to do the same thing with another color. Go get another color, cut off a piece of string, tie it on if you think you need to, and under, over. Now I went over the first time, under the second time. Now I'm going to go over, and under, and go through all the way. Now a good weaver also does this beading where it push your yarn up to make it go through. I'm going to pull it part of the way through so I can continue weaving. Under, over. All right. So pulling it through, not all the way, but part of the way. And if your needle comes out, no worries, just rethread it. Okay, under, over. Now, if I find that I made a mistake here and I skipped one accidentally, and I find that I'm doing the same thing as I did before, oops, Mrs. Davidson, I think I did it wrong. See, they're the same. Easy enough. Take it off the needle, pull it back through, and fix it. Easy to fix, easy to undo and to redo. So I just have to go back to this one because I accidentally skipped one and found myself going under where I went under before, and now I want to go just like this. I've got an over, I've got an under, I've got an over, and another under. And continue through like you did the first color. Now I can continue doing as many colors as I want, okay? Now, my goal for you is to put 4 rows like I've done here. I went down and up, down and up. I got 4 rows in this top part. And I want you to put 8 rows down here in this lower part. Now, if you need a little wider space, you definitely can take out a few more strings. Easy to do. Now, once we've done that and we've got all our rows in, 4 here and 8 here, we're going to add some fringe. And let me show you how to make the fringe. You're going to get one of the smaller needles and some smaller strings. So find some string that you like. Let's say I like this green, and I just need some short strips like this, and I'm going to put this short strip on my needle. And I am going to, and my name tag is actually in this case a little bit in the way, so I'm going to move it up. Okay, now I've got a short string like this, and I'm just basically going to go under, in, and out. Okay, so hang on to this, let the needle go through, let that hang down. That is my first fringe. Now, while I have that needle on there, I'm going to add some beads. So now I've got several beads there, but some of my beads I have mixed in with my beads are really small hole, and they won't fit. They'll get that far and they won't go any further. So these bigger ones, beads here with a big hole, will fit greatly on the needle there and slide right on. And I can choose a set of beads that I like, put as many as I will fit on there if I want, and tie them down. I would, in this case, I would just tie that last bead into place and the rest can dangle. I can re-add a needle here and add some beads onto my needle, thread it right through, tie it. Either you could also tie these together if you wanted, or just tie a knot, or tie that bead in place and let those kind of hang down like that. Put several fringe there. I kind of like to have you at least have 4 fringes going on here. So just as a review, thread it onto a needle, push it through. Sometimes that's hard to go through there. And in and out. Let it hang, add beads. The beads are optional. You don't necessarily have to have beads, but it's kind of a nice little feature. Now, very last thing to do is to put a hanger on there, okay? And the hanger is just this. It is a piece of string, not too long, don't go crazy. Get a nice piece of string, tie it here at this end, tie it here at that end. If it seems to be coming apart, coming off easily, just put a little dot of glue there and it'll hold it in place and it's ready to hang. Very good. That concludes our weaving and the things that we'll be doing the next couple weeks in our weaving unit in class. We'll talk to you more later. All right, this is just a quick tutorial to help with your weaving and your stitching, is to how to tie a knot and how to thread the needle. Now this is just an addition to their weaving. Sometimes you're going to get a piece of string like this that is going to be a little harder to thread. So this is how you should do that. You should twist that string to kind of make it a little bit more of an end. And if you need, you can always trim off a little bit. Then I would pinch, push, and push it through and pull. So pinch, push, and pull is kind of the trick. Then you can tie that on if you'd like. There are 2 sizes of needles we're working with the weaving, and one was big like that one there and it had big string, and then there's smaller ones, and this one's fine, but it's not as frayed as the other, so feel free at any time to trim off any frayed edges. Pinch, push, and see how it's kind of splitting there, so then pull. Pinch, push, and pull is kind of your key to threading the needle. All right, one more time. So here I've got one that's a little bit frayed on the end. I'm just going to trim it, pinch it, push it, pull, and I've got my needle threaded. Okay, now tying a knot is the second one that is kind of a common need amongst the students. So in order to tie the knot, I am going to just create kind of a loop and then put that string through the loop, and it's going to look like an overhand knot like that, like you would when you tie your shoes. To tie it more securely, and now in this case with the needle you don't want it tied real securely, but I would do that twice when you are tying that on to your end of your dowel like this here. So if I wanted to add this string to the end of my dowel, maybe I'll get a new string here. Get your string, cut it off, and now I'm going to tie it to the end here. So I'm going to create kind of a loop, overlap, and then come through that loop. Okay? And I've got that. Do that twice. So I've got kind of an overlap, and then I'm going to put that string under and then pull it tight. And I'm going to do that on both ends. So I'm going to go underneath that, create kind of a loop, and then the string can tuck through that loop and do that twice. Under, over, through. And that's how you tie a knot. There you go. And you're ready to go.